Hey everyone, Chris here. Welcome to our next class in our Yoga for Resilience series. Now, this is an asana class, and so physical postures, and this is our last one on kind of countering the problems of everyday life. So we've done some stuff on hips, we've done some stuff on the lower back and getting some twists into there. And in this one, we're going to look at shoulders. And then we're going to move on from this. Here are some common problems from sitting down, sitting at a desk in modern life, and all of that driving and stuff we do. This has been a really nice free class segment on that, and we're going to finish it off with shoulders today. So first of all, just find your seated position. We talked about the different ways you might want to sit earlier. I'm going to come down into this easy pose, but you do whatever suits you. I haven't got even my cushions today. I have got my hoodie, so I might sit on that just to raise my hips up a little. It is not as comfortable as I hoped, but it does give me that little tip forward on the hips that you might also find really useful. And we'll just take a moment here to let the stresses of the days wash over us, wash away, and just arrive, just be present in this class where we're going to give ourselves a little bit of self-care, a little bit of an anecdote to the stress of everyday life that we're going through. Maybe even exaggerating the breaths a little, using our breath to down-regulate our emotions. Using the inhale to find a nice tall spine. And the exhale to release any tension in our body. I'm going to start with some seated cat-cows. So we have done this sequence a couple of times, so you might remember it by now, but we're going to inhale, we're going to arch the back and raise the gaze, and we're going to exhale, I'm going to tuck the chin and round the spine. Inhale, up, exhale to fold down. And we'll do some of these in our own breath. Make this your last one. Bring yourself back to neutral, and then you can stay in whatever seated posture you're in if you like. But I'm also going to invite you at this point to maybe change it up and maybe try something different. I'm going to come and sit on my heels. So I'm going to just gently sit back onto here. I'm sideways now so you can see what I'm doing, but I am going to turn face on. Just have a bit of a wiggle around. Find something that's comfortable for you. And then here with an inhale, we're going to take the right arm up. Again, I'm not mirroring you, so yours might look a little different to mine, but we're going to do both sides. And bring it over to your left shoulder. You should feel a big stretch down here. Don't push it too hard. Now, there's a tendency here to arch the back to try and get the stretch. Try and keep your lower back relaxed if you can. Take the stretch into the shoulder. And also it can help to bring the gaze up. It's very easy to kind of bend down. Try and keep the gaze up if you can. And then just release this arm. And then bring your left arm down to your side again with an inhale, bring it up. And take it over to the right shoulder. And again, trying to keep the lower back relaxed. Trying to keep our gaze up if we can. Taking that stretch right the way down here. And exhale, release the arm down by your side, give everything a shake. And then this time we're going to inhale our arms up, and we're going to take both arms up at the same time and reach for opposite shoulder. So as we inhale, bring them up, crossing them over, and getting that double-sided stretch. So again, trying to keep our lower back relaxed. Our gaze up gets a little bit harder every time. Maybe using the inhale to raise our gaze and the exhale to relax our lower back. If it does get too intense, do take a break, do have a wiggle, do adjust. We're not meant to be punishing ourselves in these classes. And then your next exhale, release the arms down, give them all a wiggle a bit. And again, I just want to invite you at this point to change how you're seated. I'm going to go back to easy pose. Let's take a moment again to find that comfortable seat. We're going to bring ourselves into eagle arms here. So we're going to take our right arm up in front of us. We're going to cross our left arm underneath and try and reach round to our front. So it's kind of palm to palm. Now, if you end up down here, you don't have the flexibility to get all the way around. Doesn't matter, just get to where you can get to. If you can, get the fingers onto the palm, get the palms matching. If it feels too intense to keep your arms up, you can lower them down into the chest. It is going to change the stretch, but it's quite hard holding them up here. So do adjust as needed. You can also do this pose lying down if that's not working for you. Come onto your front. Again, try and cross the arms underneath. But if you're with me up here, let's just take a couple more breaths here. And then with an exhale, we'll release our arms. We'll just take a minute down here. Again, finding that comfortable seat, giving our arms a moment to recharge. And then we're going to take the same pose on the other side. So we're going to bring our left arm up and we're going to cross our right arm underneath it. Again, trying to reach palm to palm. Maybe noticing what differences in flexibility you get on this side. My hand's definitely further down the palm than it was on the other side. It would be weird if we were exactly the same level of flexible on both sides. So again, wherever you get to, again, if you need to bring your arms down, if you can only get it kind of back of hand to back of hand, that's totally fine. Just work with what your body will do. And again, on your next inhale, allow the arms to unravel and come down by your side. Shake it all out, and then from here we're gonna come down onto our backs. It's gonna be quite intense on the back, so we're gonna come into a little figure 4. So so you've got your knees around a 90-degree bend, not right up tucked into your bottom, but not fully spread out either. And then we're going to take our right leg into the air and we're going to cross it over our left leg. And you can again play around with it, so you can move this leg further out, you can move it further in. If it's not comfortable lying on your back, you can even do this on your side, just bringing it into that kind of pose. We'll get the same stretch, and you're not putting a lot of pressure on your back or the belly. And we'll just take some nice easy breaths here. Now release our right leg, bring that down to the mat so it's next to our left leg. And then we're going to take our left leg and we're going to cross it over the right leg, so taking that same pose on the other side. Again, taking some nice gentle breaths here, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the lower back. Now release our left leg, using our hands and bring ourselves back up to seated. And then we're going to come up to, we're going to thread the needle with the top half of the body as well. So come over into our tabletop position. Again, we talked about possible modifications that you could do here in our adapting your practice class. But find your wrists under your shoulders. You can leave the toes tucked, you can unfold them, whatever works for you. And then we're going to take our right arm into the air just for a couple of breaths. And we're going to thread it under our left arm, bringing our right shoulder down to the mat, bringing our forehead down to the mat. Now if you wanted to do this seated, you could just take your hand over the top. You see runners doing this stretch quite a lot. That would work fine in a seated position. If you're down here with me, you could also grab a blanket, grab a pillow, stick something under the head, finding that quite uncomfortable. And take your weight into your left hand, bring your right hand in, push yourself back up, and we're back into our tabletop position. And then we'll take that on the other side. So we'll take our left arm into the air for a couple of breaths. And then we'll fold it under our right arm, bringing our shoulder, bringing our head down towards the mat. Doesn't matter if it makes it or not. And again, you could take this seated if you preferred. Take the weight into your right arm, walk your left arm back in, push yourself up back into tabletop. And from here, we're going to go into a child's pose. So we're going to send the knees nice and wide. We're going to bring the toes together. I'm going to sit back on our heels. Bring our forehead down to the mat. Now, we talked about modifications here. You might want to put a blanket under your knees. You might want to shove something on top of your ankles. You might want to put a block under your head. But we're going to move our arms in this child's pose. So we're going to bring them to the back of the neck. And as we do that, we're going to gently walk the elbows forward so that again we get a nice stretch in the shoulders. Now again, this is a pose you could do if you want to do a seated position. If child's pose wasn't working for you, you could just bring the hands to the back of the neck. You could even do it lying down on your back as well, if that was working for you, and just kind of like gravity take them back. It's quite a nice, comfortable, relaxing way to do it. If you're with me in child's pose, don't be afraid to move the elbows forward, move them closer, move them further away. Find that perfect position for your body. Bring your hands out in front of you, walk them in a little, use them to push yourself back up. And we're going to come down into our final pose for this class, which is Shavasana. Good time to maybe throw a blanket over yourself, especially if you're on a rooftop garden and the temperature is dropping. And again, as we discussed in the adapting practice lesson, change your corpse pose, change your Savasana to whatever works for you. Bringing yourself down, arms by your side. Actually, I'm going to throw a hoodie on here because it's getting a bit chilly. Once you've found your position, beginning at the top of your body and moving down, release any tension you find from the head, the cheeks, the neck, the shoulders, the chest and the belly, the arms. Allow the fingers to gently curl, the hips, the legs, allowing the feet to fall where they fall. And just allow yourself to experience your whole body melting down into the mat. Bring some life back into the body by wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Take that movement into the arms, into the legs. Maybe take the arms overhead for a pencil stretch. And using your arms, push yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands to heart center and dropping your chin. Namaste. Thank you for coming to practice with me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next class.